All right. So we are working on another example. In this example, what we're going to be doing is finding the missing dimension. So we have one of the largest water fountains in the world. Singapore's Fountain of Wealth consists of a circular bronze ring that has a circumference of 66 meters. We're going to find the approximate diameter of the fountain's bronze ring using 3.14 for pi, and we're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. All right, so first things first, I'm going to draw my circle here. And so what they are telling us, this is our fountain, and the circumference is 66 meters. So the distance around the circle is 66 meters. All right, so we've gone 66 meters around the circle, okay? And this is the circle, okay? I'm just drawing the red so you can see that that's the direction that we're going around this circle. So it's 66 meters around the circle. We know that we have a formula that we can use. So we could say that the circumference is going to be equal to pi times the diameter. We can also use the one where we say we use our ratios, circumference to diameter is going to be equal to pi. And all that we need to do is figure out how to rearrange our problem so that we can find the missing piece. Okay. And so the missing piece is the diameter. Remember, the diameter is going from one end of the circle to the other end of the circle. And that's the distance that you're going. Okay. So we need to figure out what D is equal to. All right, so to do that, what I would probably want to do is remember D is what we're trying to solve for, so we need to isolate so that D is on one side of the equation by itself. Um, and so what we would do is write C is equal to, I'm going to just rewrite the problem. Our circumference, we have that as 66. That is going to be equal to pi. Pi, they want us to use 3.14, so we're going to write 3.14 times the diameter. All right. So remember, the goal is we're looking for the diameter. We see that it is not isolated. The reason it's not isolated is because we're multiplying by 3.14. So to get rid of that, what we'll need to do is divide both sides by 3.14. And when we do our calculations, we have 66 divided by 3.14. And we've got 21. They say round to the nearest hundred, so keep that in mind. So we've got 21.019. And if we want to round to the nearest hundredth, you need to go out to your thousandths place so that you know if you need to soar or let it rest. Okay. So remember, this 9 is determining whether or not the one soars or we let it rest. In this case, it is greater than 5. So we're going to soar up to the next number. So that would be 21.02. Okay. So that is the approximation of what we have here. And then we're going to bring down our approximation sign. And then we have 3.14 divided by 3.14. That is now 1, and we're left with D. So the value of our diameter is going to be approximately 21.02 or 21 and 200ths. Okay. If you're setting it up over here on the proportional side, then what you would do is we have the circumference. So the circumference is going to be 66 divided by the diameter, which we don't know. And then you have that equal to pi. Okay. So what we want to do is we see that it is divided. D is is the dividend. So what happens is we'll need to multiply both sides by D. And by doing that, what we would have is going to be 66. Okay. And that is going to be equal to pi times D. Okay. Notice that we have not solved for it yet because D is still on one side with another value, which is going to be the value of pi. So to get rid of that, we'll need to divide both sides by 3.14 is what we're using. Okay. So actually, let me fix that first. So we'll say 66 is equal to pi is going to be valued at 3.14 times d. We're going to divide both sides by 3.14. All right, and then we're going to say the same thing that we did last time now. So we're at 66 divided by 3.14. That gave us 21 and 19 thousandths when we approximated. And we wanted to go to the nearest hundredth, so we went out to the thousandth place. And our answer became 21 and 200ths is approximately the value of D, right? Because the 3.14 cancels out. So on this one, it took like basically an extra step. So I would recommend maybe moving over to the circumference is equal to pi times diameter. This is like less steps that need to be done. We didn't have to worry about d being in the denominator and then doing an extra step to isolate the variable. There is another way that we could have done this to make it easier, but I don't want to confuse you at this level. So that's why I didn't use that, which would be just the inverse of reciprocal of our fraction that we had here, but I don't want to confuse you with that. So I would honestly go with this method here. C is going to be equal to pi times d. And in fact, in the future videos, that's what I will do is move towards this one. However, if you still like using the ratio to work with that, that's totally fine. Just know that you're going to be doing an extra step, but that's totally okay if you are able to better see what's happening and it makes more sense to you.